Karuna, or compassion. Compassion means mercy, pity, mournful, lamenting. In the Rig Veda, Karuna is considered a holy work or action. Karuna, or compassion, is the deep hope that the suffering of others will be reduced. It is not only a nice sentiment. Compassion is a powerful generator of a clear, focused, peaceful mind that naturally leads to selfless actions performed for the benefit of others. Science has recently affirmed that the happiness that is innate in giving is greater than the happiness derived from receiving. Compassion is always associated with some sort of action. It is not just feeling pity or empathy, but to act, to reach out in compassion to someone who is suffering can be difficult when confronting a person who we have issues with, who we might not like, or who has hurt us or those we love. That is why the full transforming power of compassion to manifest forgiveness is necessary. Reflection. We need to extend forgiveness to ourselves as well. We need to extend our compassion to our own shortcomings and mistakes. The danger is that if we can't forgive and extend compassion to ourselves, the darker sides of who we are retreat to ever more deeply hidden recesses of the mind, only to come back with redoubled force. The need for forgiveness also applies to mudita, which means happiness or delight. How can we delight in a virtue we see in someone we have issues with? In fact, without the ability to forgive, we might miss perceiving the virtue altogether. Let's take a closer look at forgiveness. We can understand forgiveness as the restoration of belonging in a relationship. We argue, feel a break or fracture, minor, middling, or great, in a relationship. The sense of trust and belonging is damaged. When forgiveness arrives, the sense of belonging is restored. What about the guilt so many of us carry for past wrongdoings? So many of us are in need of being forgiven. The fracture caused by the guilt and believing that we are not good enough in some way can be so deep that virtually no one we know can heal it with their forgiveness and acceptance of who we are. Sacred wisdom teaches that consciousness, spirit, or purusha is omnipresent. We also read in the sutras that nature exists to give us experiences that lead to liberation. Put together, these truths lead us to a vital and true conclusion. We belong. We are children of the universe here for a purpose and to grow and to find our spiritual freedom. We belong. We don't need to ask the universe or God for forgiveness. We are already forgiven because we belong to God, to the universe, to life. We are participants in the dance of life, not just observers. We belong. When we ask God, Guru, or others for forgiveness, it is for the sake of experiencing a restoration of the feeling of belonging in the relationship. Asking for forgiveness opens our hearts and makes us vulnerable to the forgiveness that was, is, and always will be ours. A final thought regarding forgiveness. Life can be hard. So many changes and unwelcome and unexpected challenges arise. We can see arrayed before us every manner of injustice and unexplained atrocities. Yet if we can't embrace all of life, we can never know its essence or source. We are caught in a thought habit of, if it doesn't make sense to me, then it is senseless. How can a God that allows all these terrible events be wise, loving, and merciful? We can't understand it. This amounts to seeking a God that is just a tiny bit less intelligent than we are. A God we can understand with our limited intellect. This is a symptom of believing that we should and can control life or God by our thoughts, words, and deeds. It never works. What are we to do? One way to begin is by forgiving God for not living up to your standards. The absurdity of this practice helps reconcile us with the ways and wisdom of life. We are released from the need to be in control of everything, and in a healthy way, that is not resignation, surrender to the universal cosmic life, truth, and love, and light. The answer to some questions just has to be lived out. The question of sense or senselessness of life is one of them.